Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to our third and final video on my picks for the greatest Team Canada players of all time. We've looked at the forwards, the defensemen, and now here's my pick. The top 5 Team Canada goaltenders of all time. Once again, you may agree, you may disagree, and I'd love it if you shared your own personal list in the comments below. Without any further ado, here's my picks for the top 5 Team Canada goaltenders of all time. At number 5, Seth Martin. Name probably doesn't sound familiar to a lot of you, does it? I myself didn't learn much about him until around the 2002 Olympics when there was a mini biography of him that aired on CBC. Born on May 4th, 1933 in Roslyn, BC, he was a trained firefighter, was a mainstay in the Western Canada senior hockey circuit for 20 years, and mainly with the Trail Smoke Eaters of the WIHL. The Smoke Eaters were representing Team Canada at the 1961 World Championships in Switzerland. Remember, this is several years before active NHL players were allowed to participate. Martin was an absolute marvel in net, only allowing 6 goals in 5 games. He went 4-0-1, posted a goals against average of 1.28, helped Canada win their 3rd straight gold medal at the Worlds, and will be their last for 33 years. Martin was named to the All-Star team and the tournament's best goaltender. The Smoke Eaters represented Canada for the 1962-63 hockey season and toured the world. And Martin, as their goaltender, he was outstanding in many games and, again, led them to representing Team Canada at the 1963 Worlds, and Martin was again incredible in goal. Despite a dip in his statistics, he was 4-2-1 with a shutout, and had a bit of a below-average 3.29 goals against average, but he was facing a barrage of shots game in and game out. They had to settle for a 4th place finish, but once again he was named best goaltender of the tournament. Then he had his biggest opportunity yet, 1964, the Winter Olympic Games in Innsbruck, Austria. Martin was a marvel in goal again, playing in huge games including a shutout win over the Swiss, making a monster season a 3-1 win over Sweden, but Canada would barely miss it on a bronze medal and finished 4th due to the Czechs having a better goal differential. But Martin walked away with the consolation prize as he was named best goaltender of the tournament with a 4-1-0 record and an insane 1.21 goals against average. This, however, will be Martin's only shot at the Olympics. He did get another shot at the World Championships, however, in 1966 in Yugoslavia, and again was outstanding. His 2-2-0 record may seem modest, but his 2 goals against average, getting right on the button, is certainly excellent. It helped Canada to a bronze. And for the 3rd time, was named best goaltender for the 2nd time to the All-Star team. Seth Martin represented Canada for the final time during this Canadian Centennial year in 1967 at the Worlds in Austria. And he was again mesmerizing in goal. 3-2-1 record, 2.33 goals against average, and helped Canada to a bronze, but for the first time didn't receive any personal accolades for his showing. Martin retired from hockey in 1973 at the age of 40 and focused on his firefighting career. But either way, 5 international competitions, 1 gold, 2 bronzes, several personal accolades, and an Olympian to boot. Yeah, whenever any moron on the internet goes on about athletes being nothing more than factory workers back in the 60s, just remember, Seth Martin, when he wasn't putting out fires and saving lives, was extinguishing opposing shooters all around the world. He took pride in all the things he'd done, and even sacrificed his NHL career, which was just 1 season, because being a firefighter and making sure his family and his life were secure was very admirable. At number 4, Roberto Luongo. A Montreal-born product, a butterfly-style goaltender with beautiful reflexes and tremendous size, he went above and beyond the call for his native land on many occasions, and he indeed has the accolades to show for it. He first answered the call in the 2001 World Championships in Germany. He was looking really good, but sadly a finger injury went into his tournament, and he did post a 2-0 record with a 1.44 goals against average and an amazing .949 save percentage. However, Canada would finish 5th. He got another shot at the 2003 Worlds as a backup to Sean Burke. He got the call for starts against Latvia in the preliminary round, played very well, and posted a shutout against the Swiss. But Sean Burke went down with an injury in the semifinals, and it wasn't Lou's best game, but Canada got the win. However, his playing a gold medal game was what made headlines. Count him up. 49! That's right, 49 saves against a very good Swedish team. That was led by Matt Sundin. Canada won in overtime, and Luongo received heavy praise for his clutch play on that one, and walking away with a gold medal as a result. In 2004, Luongo was back for the Worlds in the Czech Republic, and coming out the best year of his career. He was a finalist for the Vezina in the NHL and got several votes for the Hart Trophy as league MVP, despite playing for the lowly Florida Panthers. But this time in the tournament, he was a starter. He was sensational once again. He notched a shutout against Latvia, stopping 32 shots, faced 41 shots in Canada's thrilling 5-4 overtime win over Finland in the quarterfinals, facing an onslaught from the likes of Ole Jokinen. He was amazing, stopping 28 shots, however, in the semifinals in a thrilling 2-1 win over the Slovaks, as Miro Zlatan and Pavel Dimitrov made him work for the win. And in the gold medal game, he stopped 28 of 31 shots and gave Canada a 5-3 win for a second straight World Championship gold. And because this, Luongo was selected to back up Martin Brodeur at the 2004 World Cup of Hockey. However, he did get the start in the semifinals against a powerful Czech Republic club led by Milan Hajduk, Patrick Ilyash, and of course the great Jaromir Jagr. Luongo was bombarded in this game, facing 40 shots. He had to make some spectacular saves, making the highlight reels. Stopped 37 of them and was garnering cheers from the packed fans at the ACC in Toronto. And Canada won in thrilling fashion, 4-3 in overtime. It was the only game he played in this tournament, but what a game. They don't win it without him. He garnered another title, winning the World Cup of Hockey. Luongo once again backed up Brodeur at the 2005 World Championships. He played in 2 games, getting a shutout win over Slovenia, stopping 28 shots as well in a 3-3 tie with Finland. Canada, however, would only walk away with a silver medal. Robbie was again going to back up Marty at the 2006 Olympics in Torino, Italy, the country of his ancestors. He got the call to start against Germany and only faced 12 shots to 5-1 Canada win. He then faced Finland in the round robin as well. Canada was shut out 2-0, but Luongo was impressive, stopping 28 shots in what was only his second international loss. Canada finished a staggering 7th, but Luongo had left the Panthers after this season and was with a prominent playoff team in Vancouver, so he wouldn't see any more World Championship tournaments. But again, he was selected to back up Brodeur in the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. He did get the start against lowly Norway in the 8-0 shutout win, merely facing 15 shots, but got a rousing ovation from his home team fans. Brodeur, however, showed some struggles in the next couple games. And going forward, head coach Mike Babcock decided Lou is the guy. Luongo got the win in Canada's 8-2 thrashing of Germany in the playoff round, and then it was a 7-3 quarterfinal win over Russia, and Luongo made some excellent stops in that one. He did the same to 3-2 win over the Slovaks to make it to the gold medal game. And it was on February 28, 2010, against the Americans, led by the great arsenal including Patrick Kane, Zach Parise, Joe Pavelski, Jamie Langenbrunner, and Lou's counterpart in net, Ryan Miller. Luongo was razor sharp throughout most of the game, but Parise's goal with 25 seconds left in regulation silenced the nation to tie the game 2-2. But rather than get frustrated, Lou kept his focus in overtime and came up in the clutch and he barred the door. And Crosby's golden goal gave Luongo an Olympic gold medal in a game where he stopped 34 shots in a 3-2 thrill ride of a win. And when receiving his gold, the Vancouver fans let out that all-familiar chant of Lou! At the 2014 Olympics in Sochi, Luongo was again to back up, this time, however, to Carey Price. The 34-year-old had been battling injuries at this point, and his play actually slowly started to suffer. But he did get a good shot here in one game. He was impressive in a 23-save shutout win 6-0 over Austria, in what would be his only game of action. But hey, he got the W, and he got the gold once again. Unbelievable. 8 tournaments, 4 golds, 2 Worlds, 2 Olympics, plus a World Cup of Hockey, totaling 5 championships and add on a silver. Yeah, he was mainly intended to be a backup most of the time, but he excelled in that role too, and came up big when called upon to do so in the big games such as the 2003 Worlds or 2010 Olympics. But count it up, 24 games, a record of 19, 2, and 3. Remarkable. At number 3, Martin Brodeur. Jordan Luongo was the second Montreal-born goalie on this list, and like Lou, grew up idolizing the great Patrick Roy. Brodeur was a tremendous handler of the puck and was actually a really good skater too. One of the best glove hands in the game that there's ever been, and huge in clutch situations. His international career, however, didn't really start out all too stellar. While he did walk away with a silver medal at the 1996 Worlds, he didn't win a single game, going 0-1-1. And also his minimal appearances at the 1996 World Cup of Hockey didn't pan out too well either. He was a backup at the 1998 Olympics in Nagano to Patrick Roy, but saw no action. However, in his next 2 tournaments, this is why he's on this list. He was brilliant. 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City, Curtis Joseph was initially the number 1 guy. But after a bad outing against Sweden, Marty got the start against Germany, made some big saves in the 3-2 win, and was also making some solid stops in the 3-3 tie with the Czechs, and got Canada through the playoff round against the Finns and Belarus. But Marty was at his best when it came to the gold medal game. The U.S. fired in on Marty 33 times. He stopped 31 of them. Hell no, Hull. Maybe next time, Madonna. No spare, Leclerc. Get lost, Guerin. Har har, JR. He was amazing in this outing, and Canada will go on to win 5-2, winning their first gold medal in 50 years. Marty received praise for his performance on this night, and rightfully so. He finished the tournament overall 4-0-1, a 1.80 goals against average, a .917 save percentage. Tremendous. 2 years later, he was called upon to be the starting goaltender for Canada in the 2004 World Cup of Hockey. From the word go, he was coming up in the clutch, doing everything in his power to stop the U.S. from tying the game in the opening round robin, stopping 23 shots and a 2-1 win. The upstart Slovakia team gave him a lot to handle, but he stood steadfast in net in the 5-1 win, stopping 24 shots. But his performance against Russia was truly sensational. Curse you, Kovalev. No magic for you, Datsuk. You have no passion, Yashin. Au revoir, Ovi, and F off, Kozlov. That's right. Canada wins 3-1. Roeder stops 27 shots. And again, he was fierce in a quarterfinal against Slovakia, turning back everything every which way in a 23-save shutout. In the semifinals against the Czechs, Broder was out with an injury, as mentioned in the Luongo part of this video. But in the one-game final against the Finns, he was back at it, on top of it all. Poo-poo, Koivu, you be nappin', Kapanen, and so long, Solani. Canada wins 3-2. Broder 27 saves in a 3-2 win, and is now a World Cup of Hockey champion. His record in this tournament, 5-0-0, undefeated, 1.00 goals against average, and a monster .961 save percentage. Yow. A shutout, and he's named to the tournament all-star team. And now he's undefeated in these last two tournaments. Out of the canceled 2004-05 season in the NHL, Broder went to play for Canada at the World Championships, and hoping to be a member of the Triple Gold Club to add to his Olympic gold medal as well as his 3 Stanley Cups. He had a little trouble, however, to start the tournament, but got an easy shutout against Slovenia. Once again, saved his best for the Americans, stopping an insane 34 shots in a 3-1 win, and he was a wall. Despite a 5-4 loss to the Swedes, he stood on his head and had a little help from his defense. And, later on, stopped 39 shots in a 4-3 semifinal win over Russia. But Canada was shot in the gold medal game against the Czechs. Broder has a sell for another silver. Well, Broder, at the age of 33, was still at the top of his game in 2006. He was selected to play for Canada at the Olympics. But yes, these were the ill-fated 06 games that put Canada in 7th place. He started in a 7-2 win over Italy, allowed 2 goals on 16 shots in a shocking upset loss to the Swiss. But he was amazing in the win over the Czechs, stopping 31 shots in a 3-2 win. And Broder played very well in the playoff loss to Russia, stopping 31 shots, but again, Canada lost this 2-0. Forwards and shooters not delivering. Despite his mere 2-2-0 record, he was an excellent 2.01 goals against average and a very good .923 save percentage. He got another shot at the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. He does deserve credit, however, for his performance, I believe anyway, in the shootout itself in the 3-2 win against the Swiss. But looked pretty rough in the 5-3 loss against the U.S. and would not play another game in the tournament. But he still received his 2nd Olympic gold medal, and he had a very good record overall in international competition of 17-7-2 with a 2.25 goals against average. His play in the 02 Olympics and the 04 World Cup hockey alone shows why he's on this list, above and beyond answering the call. But even a losing cause such as 2006, he looked great. At number 2, the before-mentioned Carey Price. An icon in Montreal due to his 15 seasons with the Habs, a native of Vancouver, BC, Price only played in 2 international tournaments. So some of you may ask, why is he here? Why is he ranked this high? While others know very well why he's here and why he's ranked this high. He got his first shot in international competition at the 2014 Olympics in Sochi, while in the midst of one of the best years of his entire NHL career. Price had to make a few big stops against the determined Norway club and help Canada get a 3-1 win. As I mentioned before, Luongo played in the Austria game, but against the powerful Finland squad, led by Solani and Jokinen, he was back in net, facing only 15 shots, but still making a couple biggies in the tight 2-1 OT win. Price made more good stops in the 2-1 win over Latvia in the quarterfinals, but it was the semifinals where Carey Price showed just how good he really is. It was the powerful American club, led by ferocious Phil Kessel, who was having a great tournament. The likes of Patrick Kane and Zach Parise were back. But Carey was, in a word, wow. In net, standing on his head in many big moments that the stacked American club just couldn't solve the all-star goalie. Shot after shot after shot, save after save after save. Glove, yeah. Blocker, yeah. Stick, yeah. Pad, yeah. Carey was a machine on this day, and what resulted was a tight 1-0 win over the U.S. to make it to the gold medal game. Carey Price matched his number in saves in this one, 31. Then it was out to face Sweden in the finals. Again, save after save after save. Carlson shoots, he does not score. Daniel Sedin denied. Alfie, no goal for you. Canada wins 3-0. Second consecutive shutout. Price stops 24 shots in this one and gets a gold medal, and to no surprise is named the tournament's best goaltender. I mean, come on, 5-0-0. A 0.59 goals against average. That is just plain nuts. 9.72 save percentage. That's as close to perfect as you can get. Two zeros. Just over 2 years later, Price was selected as the starting goaltender for the World Cup of Hockey in 2016. In the opening round-robin game, Canada throttled the Czechs 6-0, but Carey faced a lot of action. He had to have 27 saves in a shutout win, another huge game for number 31. Then it was a big game against the Americans, and Price gave them Sochi nightmares again. Poo-poo to Pavelski. You're a passé, Parise. We're not teammates now, Patchy boy. Take a hike, Van Riemsdyk. You're insane, Kane, if you think you're going to score on me. 34 saves and a 4-2 win for Canada. Price stopped 19 of 20 shots to 4-1 win over Europe to close out the round robin. But in the semifinals against Russia, they were on Price like vodka on ice. And while they did manage to score 3 goals, it wasn't enough. Au revoir, OV. Canada wins 5-3. Carey, yes, with 31 saves. And now next up was Europe in the best of 3 finals, and they were like a firing squad in on Price. But zilch for Zuccarello, a goal is far for Kopitar, dry game for Draisaitl, hi Hossa, bye Hossa. Canada wins 3-1. Price, 32 saves. Game 2, despite letting in an early goal, Price didn't lose focus. He didn't get frustrated, and he shined. Once again, Europe was a firing squad, but Price was bulletproof. 33 saves, even though Canada had to wait for a late comeback to win it. 2-1 winning the World Cup of Hockey. And I have to say, the crowd at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto saw Carey Price receive the trophy and roared loudly, appreciating his play. Once again, 5-0-0. A 1.40 goals against average, 957 save percentage. A shutout, just wow. Price, 2 tournaments, 2 titles. He didn't lose a single game. Hell, he didn't even tie any games. Overall, a 0.99 goals against average, just under 1. 3 shutouts, a 965 save percentage. Yeah, just 2 tournaments. Outright dominance in those tournaments. Has anyone ever displayed that? Well, maybe our honorable mention came close. But hey, do you have any more questions about Carey's inclusion? And indeed, our honorable mention here is Bill Ramford. He played in 3 tournaments and did very well. A record of 17-1-2, a 1.61 goals against average, and 4 shutouts. He first represented Canada at the 1991 Canada Cup and was brilliant, going undefeated at 6-0-2, and was on the Canada Cup All-Star team and named tournament MVP. He was 5-1-0 with 2 shutouts at the 1993 Worlds, but Canada collapsed in the playoff round and finished 4th. He returned the following year in 1994 and was sensational, winning all 6 games he started, including the thrilling gold medal shootout win over the Finns, bringing Canada their first World Championship in 33 years. He was named the All-Star team. It was named the tournament's best goalie, and 1.17 goals against average probably had a lot to do with that. But now, here is my pick for the number 1 goaltender in Team Canada history, and it's none other than Windsor, Ontario native, Sean Burke. He may not have had the same success as others on this list, but there's numerous reasons why he is number 1. His skills included a tremendous glove hand, sheer focus. He was a coach's dream, able to adapt to any system any given coach was implementing. He was the embodiment of Canadian international goaltending, was keen on being a part of the growth of the Canadian hockey program in general. Now remember, the NHL's best at this time in the 80s were only able to compete at the Canada Cup/World Cup until 1998 Olympics. And of course I mention that too because of the World Championships, only teams that missed the playoffs were eliminated early would have players compete despite many legends going there. But the Canadian national team hockey program had grown stagnant in the 1970s to the point where they didn't even compete in the 72 or 76 Olympics. They returned in 1980 but finished 6th. They improved in 84, finishing 4th. Sean Burke, at the age of 19, joined the Canadian national team program for the 86-87 season. He was amazing, finishing with a record of 27-13-2 in 42 games. He played for Team Canada at the 1987 World Championships, and he was excellent. Sadly, however, Canada finished fourth, again collapsing in the medal round. Again with the national team, the next year in 1987-88, he was 19-9-2 and represented Canada at the 1988 Olympics in Calgary, where Canada was expected to finish on the podium for the first time in 20 years. And what great way to do it on their home soil. But the tournament was a huge disappointment. Canada finished fourth. And Burke, probably the only time in his career in any international competition, didn't play well. He had a 1-2-1 record. Well, he joined the New Jersey Devils later that year, helping them make it all the way to the 7th game of the conference final in a miracle run. And Burke, however, was already given a lot of credit for the Team Canada international hockey program growing, and he could indeed excel at the international game. However, the Devils would miss the playoffs in 1989, and Burke donned their white and red again as part of the 1989 World Championships, and finally got his first medal as a pro, winning a silver, splitting goaltending duties with Grant Fuhr. But Burke was a much better than two in the tournament with a 4-1-0 record, and hey, he also got himself a shutout. Burke rejoined Canada 2 years later in 1991 and was incredible in net again in the Worlds, 4-1-2, making sensational saves against the likes of Yari Curry, Jeremy Roenick, and defueling the Russian rocket known as Pavel Bure. Burke was praised so much for his play in this tournament that he'd have to settle for another silver. However, he was named to the tournament All-Star team. Burke was named to the Canada Cup roster in 1991 as a backup, but did not see a single minute of action. And also this time he wasn't happy with his status in New Jersey with the Devils, so he decided to sit the NHL season out and rejoin the Canadian national team and went back on the road with them again. This was huge. Burke was very familiar with international play, and with the 1992 Olympics in Albertville coming up, this was a big story. People thought Canada truly had a chance to win a medal here. He was determined to keep this program moving and progressing. And while on the road with Canada during the 91-92 season, he was 18-6-4 with a tremendous 2.61 goals against average. Then came the Olympics in Albertville, France. February 8, 1992 was the opener against host country France, and they actually came out flying against Canada. Burke had to be razor sharp in net, and he was in a 3-2 win. He made 27 saves. He had a bit of an easier night in a 6-1 win over the Swiss. Then he got a shutout in a 10-0 thrashing of Norway. But his best performance at this point was against Czechoslovakia, which featured a young Robert Lang. And Burke was playing the game of his life, just stopping everything that came his way. He just could not be beat. 33 saves in a huge 5-1 win. Burke's performance made many headlines back home. However, the next game against the unified team, which was comprised of players from the fallen Soviet Union, Burke was bombarded. He was standing on his head as his defense couldn't contain this high-powered, high-octane club. Exhausted, Burke made 48 saves, but Canada would lose 5-4. Burke and Canada had a rough go of it in the quarterfinals and needed a shootout to beat upstart Germany, but in the semifinals, once again against the Czechs, Burke was king of the crease. He faced a barrage but never lost focus. He was a heart of a lion who wanted to win. 31 saves, 4-2 Canada wins. They're out to the gold medal game against the unified team. Burke again was making huge highlight reel saves. Canada forwards and shooters had trouble mustering up enough momentum to really truly get ahead in this game. And the former Soviets had a 2-0 lead with time winding down. But a Chris Lindbergh goal gave Canada hope with 2:40 to play. But just a minute and a half later, the Russians would score and ice the game, and Canada would lose 3-1. Burke was unfairly scapegoated by some members of the media, but was praised for his overall play in the tournament, despite settling for a silver medal. But still, this silver medal is Canada's first Olympic hockey podium appearance since 1968. Yeah, it's a proud accomplishment, even if it wasn't the desired outcome. Now, you'd think a performance like this would inspire a great NHL team to obtain Burke. No, he ended up in Hartford and saw literally no playoff action. But that meant he was back at the World Championships in 1997, and this was his tournament to own. He opened it with a shutout win over Norway and was sharp in Canada's 7-2 dominance of Sweden. But after a stunning 3-3 tie with Latvia they had to settle for, Canada bounced back and destroyed the Americans 5-1. A team that featured talent such as Ted Donato and Chris Drury, who Burke was on guard against from beginning to end. Then Burke got another shutout win against Italy. Burke played his best game, however, in a sensational 1-0 shutout win over Finland, turning back such young stars as Koivu and Jokinen. After a devastating loss to the Czechs, he rebounded huge with a 2-1 win over Russia, where Burke was just making monster saves, keep Canada ahead and eventually win to make a trip to the best-of-3 gold medal final against a very tough Swedish team, led up front by Michael Nylander, veteran defenseman Tommy Alberlin, and in goal, Tommy Salo, who was having an amazing tournament himself. Canada lost a tight 3-2 battle in Game 1, but Burke was like the Terminator in net for Canada. Hasta la vista, Sweden. They'd win 2-1. Then in the deciding third and final game, Burke was committing grand larceny and theft in net as Sweden had no answer. While he did let in a late goal, Canada still won 2-1. Sean Burke finally gets a gold medal on a major international stage. What a moment for a man who has worked so hard for his country, so hard for the program itself to get to this point. In this 1997 World Championship, a 7-3-1 record, 2.17 goals against average, and 3 shutouts. Burke received amazing praise for his play here and well deserved. He was talked about a bit for the 1998 team in Nagano, but doesn't really get too high consideration considering he was having a pretty bad year. However, he got very high consideration for the 2000 team for Canada in Salt Lake City due to his experience in the international game, and at this point was having some of the best NHL seasons of his long career at this point. But he was one of the final cuts, which is a shame because it would have been nice to see him finally get an Olympic gold after all that trying. But his last international competition came in 2003, as he joined Team Canada for the Worlds. After Luongo got the start against Latvia, Burke played a beauty against Sweden 3-1. Get this, he was facing the onslaught of guys like Matt Sundin, Peter Forsberg, Henrik Zetterberg. A surprisingly strong Denmark team, however, took Canada to the limit in a 2-2 tie, but Burke still played very well. And after sitting out against the Swiss, he looked incredible again in a 5-2 win over Russia, staring down the likes of Kovalchuk and Datsuk. It was easy for Burke. He didn't feel any pressure in the stage. Canada was looking sharp. He came up in the clutch over in a thrilling 3-2 overtime win for Canada in Germany, against Germany, easy for me to say in the quarterfinals. But as mentioned earlier, Burke was out early against the Czechs and injured for the rest of the tournament. But be that as it may, Luongo helped the rest of the way, but Sean Burke gets his second gold medal, and on top of that, a 4-0-1 record of 1.28 goals against average. That is utterly insane. Shutout. He's named the All-Star team and is named best goaltender of the tournament. Way to go, Berkey. Nobody, and I mean nobody, except the passion of international hockey and net like Sean Burke. In tournament competition, Burke has an incredible record of 28-11-6. 7 tournaments, 2 goals, 3 silvers, individual accolades. But his biggest contribution has to be the role in helping the Canadian national team program grow and grow under the watch of Dave King, which ultimately led to Canada's first Olympic medal, winning that silver in 1992, their first in 24 years. And Burke for the Canadian national team had a record of 64, 28, and 8. His passion to play for his country is uncanny, and expertly learned and excelled at the international game that Canada so desired to be good at again. Burke had a decent NHL career. He did win over 300 games, but played for mediocre and sometimes outright awful teams. But his contribution to Hockey Canada is what makes him a legend, and number 1 on our list. Well, that does it for our list of the top 5 Canadian goaltenders of all time, and ends our series of the top Team Canada players of all time. Share your list below, share your opinions below, please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'll see ya!